have a really great show for you today. We have some representatives of the Nevada County Green Party. We also have coming on the show a civil engineer, Payom Riles, who will talk a little bit about the meaning of resiliency, which is a big buzzword that a lot of people are thinking about in light of some of the current tragedies that have happened in Houston and Florida around the hurricanes. I'm also going to have Gil Dominguez from Touchdown Productions, a gentleman who's been doing TV production here in the county for over 20 years. And I'm going to also have Justin Burkett. He's going to talk a little bit about Chinese medicine, and I think we're going to maybe get a song or two out of him. And also a lot more. So let's get started with the show, and thanks for joining in. We are broadcasting live now, again on YouTube and Ustream, but also broadcasting in 9 counties: in Nevada County, Truckee, Tahoe, Placer County, Calaveras, Amador, Sacramento County, in Siskiyou County, Shasta County, and also out in Chico in Butte County. And every week we're adding more counties that are getting on board as far as broadcasting conscious, educational, and inspiring content. Well, we started here in the heart of Gold Country, but now we're fanning out. So welcome to the show, and I'm going to go over now with our self-written theme song here for the Golden Road Show with Yvette Cadeau and Gabrielle Lawson. So you guys take it away.
It's the golden road. It's the golden road. Building bridges from the past, reaching to today, for a bright tomorrow to light the golden way. It's arts and culture, history, environment and health. It's peace and justice, technology, inspiration for all. It's the golden road. It's the golden road. It's the golden road. It's the golden road.
Dysfunction.
We are.
We're
the cure.
I met some of your representatives the other day at Food and Juice. We were having lunch, and they had a booth set up, and they were talking about issues. And I had to say I laughed because right behind the gentleman who was there kind of canvassing, they had, Green Party helping to cure that. So that's a new one on us.
We are.
So question, what is the relationship? I know back in the late 80s, I did a lot of door-to-door canvassing for super funds and for cleanups, and a lot of that was affiliated with Ralph Nader. Mm-hmm. And of course, he's been a representative of the Green Party. But what's the relationship going back of Ralph Nader to the Green Party?
Ralph Nader is a fabulous private citizen who has done so much good public work. If you think about the reason we don't have smoking on airplanes anymore, the reason we do have the ingredients list commonly on the back of all the consumer products that we buy, the reason that cars were changed in design so that they no longer had things that would poke out or hard face smashing dashboards was because of the work he did in saying, can't we have a common redesign among all vehicles where an impact like that doesn't have to be so injurious or so impactful.
So he was an attorney or a lawyer who took on a lot of big companies,
yes,
as far as helping consumers.
Yes, and even just made pleas to Congress when legislation was coming up, when various issues were being considered, whether it was taking on a company or not. And eventually the Green Party was getting ballot status among most states, as it has, and Ralph Nader was a logical candidate representative. He never actually wanted to run for office, and in the end he has been frankly more effective than many people who are paid to be in public office as a private citizen.
All right, well, we're going to try to keep our viewership, so I don't want to get too political right now,
okay.
Especially after our 1-year anniversary here. But nonetheless, you're doing great stuff in protection of consumers. So let's do this.
Okay.
He's sitting over there, and I've been really fortunate to spend a little time with him over the last week. Actually, yesterday, I was at the American Legion. They had their second annual event over at the Dewdrop Inn, and it was great. you know, I kind of went a little out of my comfort zone. I went there, I got to hang out with some of the vets and a lot of the bikers, and had a really good time, and just really a great community of people. And but I want to bring him into the mix a little bit because he was there DJing. You can see him usually around Nevada City, God, everywhere. And we're really happy. He's a transplant from Brooklyn here in our community. He's really one of the original artists who worked with many people like Grandmaster Kaz and Cold Crush Crew, and the list goes on. But I want to bring in the show. Maybe he's got a little music up his sleeve. Let's go over to DJ Power. Nice round of applause for DJ.
1 2 1 2 1 2. How y'all feel out there? Boy, Mikey, we had a long little stretch, man. Right, girls? I mean, we're back today. We've been building, filming, all that stuff, gigging, you know, creating music and dealing with the community and all that. Yeah, yesterday, big up to all my vets out there, you know, and all the people that support that type of situation. We don't necessarily, like, believe in all the stuff that, you know, all this does. But we signed that paper, you know. Somebody got to defend the Briar Patch, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is this. Yeah, I love that place. Pick up the Briar Patch. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is this. We had a great day gathering, you know what I mean? Helped relieve a lot of, we had counseling going on there, you know what I mean? We got, you know, we had a lot of counseling going on out there, you know, post-traumatic stress issues, a lot of the soldiers out there. We're trying to get them from, there's a lot of suicide going on with the new soldiers. You know, I believe they should have never introduced psych meds into the military. I mean, my God, glad I don't want to go out there with them. But what I'm saying is this, right? We got a lot going on with the vets, and there's a lot of good, you know, men and women out there come home. You see one that's in need. You know, as long as he's trying to get his thing right, help him out. You know, if he's out there messing around, because vets come home with all kind of ideas. They are humans. You know, who knows? But if you see a vet trying to get it right, let's go. But until then, I got a little music. Now, this goes out to my Native American community. I was just with some of my friends and all that, and we were discussing some things. And this is Golden Road TV, so I feel as though I could do this. You know, you would never hear this record on the radio. Big to all my Native American people, we love you. Now, when it goes into this,
on an industrial reservation, we are the Halusa Nation. We have been called Indians. We have been called Native Americans. We have been called hostile. We have been called pagan. We have been called. We live on an industrial reservation. We are the Halusa Nation. We have been called the Indians. We have been called Native American. We have been called hostile. We have been called militant. We live on an industrial reservation.
this is Golden Road TV.
We are
Educate.
the Halusa Nation. We have been called the Indians. We have been called Native American. We have been called hostile. We have been called pagan. We have been called militant. We have been called many names. We are the Halusa Nation. We are the human beings. The callers of names cannot see us, but we can see them. We are the Halusa Nation. Our DNA is of earth and sky. Our DNA is of past and future. We are the Halusa Nation. We are the evolution, the continuation. Halusa Nation. The Halusa Nation.
Take it over. Big up to the Native American community.
flowing like a river, justice rising up like mountains. People around the world, come join your hands. Peace is flowing like a river, justice rising up like mountains. Share and walk the golden road across the land. Come on. Peace is flowing like a river, justice rising up like mountains. People around the world, come join your hands. Peace is flowing like a river, justice rising up like mountains. Share and walk the golden road across the land.
And another original piece of music by Yvette and Gabrielle Lawson. So thank you so much. Again, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Golden Road TV. We're also a radio show because I'm a broadcaster at KVMR. And we also are now offering a free app and podcasting through iTunes and the Igloo Radio Network. So if you don't have time to get online or watch us, you don't have cable television, you can put us on in the car, and hopefully we'll offer a little bit of some insightful and inspiring content to help elevate your day. So I'm your host, Michael DiMartino. We're talking with the representative from Nevada County Green Party, Beth Moore. We're going to talk for a few more minutes because we have so many guests on the show tonight. I'm really happy and honored. So it's going to be a very fast-moving and eclectic show. So we're back. So we talked a little bit about the backstory of the Green Party, and it's going to kind of bring us to the current day. And then I know we're going to have Nicole on in a few minutes to talk about what's happening right now. But a little more information you can leave us with about the Green Party.
Yeah, just to say, the Green Party has really done a nice job bringing some different speakers and events and changes in the community. For instance, we brought the speakers who became the architects for our first co-housing here, which has since become 3 different co-housings in Nevada County.
And of course, housing is, even to this day, it was front page in the paper. Housing and space is still a real big issue here in Nevada County.
Absolutely.
As much as those of us who live here don't want to see it grow, I actually spoke with someone from the city recently, and they're talking about potentially 50 to 100,000 more people moving up here in the next, potentially like the 5 years. So these are real issues that you're taking on that really affect all of us, whether, you know, whoever we politically decide to, regardless of whatever music we listen to. This is something that really affects our community.
Right. So one of the things with the Greens, people talk about you're a growing and upcoming, or they use other words, party, and if you can't win the presidency right now, what are you doing? And we feel it's really important to change the conversation because the Green Party is absolutely rooted in no corporate donations. And so our conversation, our efforts, our activism is not influenced by corporate money, and we feel that also sets us apart from other main parties. So we like to support candidates who...
No one's using a solid gold commode then?
That's right.
Okay,
Not for sale.
All right,
not
good,
for sale.
Good to know.
I know Nicole's going to be talking about some of our current efforts and events that we have coming up, but just to say that we would love people to come join us. We meet the second Wednesday of each month at the Eric Rood Building, Nevada County Government Center off of Maidu Avenue. 6 o'clock for newcomers, so if you want to come learn a little bit before the meeting starts, and then 6:15 for our regular meeting. People can come check it out, and I have to say, our food is amazing. So we have this little section that we have in every meeting.
Come hungry.
Seriously, seriously, it's like grown that day, sautéed up, really amazing. There's a spread, it's developed, and it's because we made this little section in the middle of the agenda where we kind of take a break, we eat, and we write postcards. So we talk about all these heavy issues that are going on. It's like, all right, what's an action we can take right now? And so we take a break, we write a postcard about, you know, the NID or dams or healthcare or whatever's coming up, current legislation, while we enjoy amazing food. So it's worth it for that alone.
And that's something that people can always come together is over food, right?
That's right.
And I know you guys are doing great work. So again, we're not here to necessarily support any political or particular religious agenda, but we're here to really give a mouthpiece to the community. But I think it's easy to see without looking too far with all the stuff happening in the world that it's really time for us to all come together and find solutions to a lot of these problems. And I'm really excited to have Renette Senum showing up tonight. She's going to be on the show in just a little bit. And she's done so much also for this community, and we really appreciate her taking time to be here tonight. So before we go on, I just want to thank, it takes energy, it takes resources for the show to happen. So of course, I want to thank the Grass Valley Center for the Arts for sponsoring us by giving us this beautiful production space. I'd also like to thank Forever Enlightened Bookstore in Auburn and the New Dawn Bakery, gluten-free bakery, for their support, and really the amazing team that I'll introduce a little bit later in the show. But thank you so much for being on the show. We're going to have Nicole up in just a moment. So let's roll to one of our other theme songs, then we're going to do a quick a set change. We got lots more live music coming up, more with DJ Power, a lot more guests, Poyom Riles, Justin Burkett. We're going to talk a little bit about Chinese medicine, and lots more to come here on the show. So stay tuned to Golden Road, and let's go over now with Rebecca Funk over to one of our theme songs. We'll be back in just about 60 seconds, so stay tuned.
It's the Golden Road TV show. It's the Golden Road TV show. Well, bridging the past with today for a better tomorrow.
Golden Road explores the intersection of arts, environment, culture, health, peace, justice, science, and technology, paving the road for positive social change.
It's the Golden Road TV show. It's the Golden Road.
And we're back. One of our other theme songs. Actually, all of those were produced by Michael Shapiro. He has a local music group. You can usually see him performing in Grass Valley at the Hope. Really nice, kind of catchy theme songs that we put to our stream. Short section here to find out what the Green Party is doing today. I'd like to welcome to the show Nicole. I'm underdressed now. What do you do making me look bad now? But anyways, thank you so much. And the County Green Party.
I am.
And we're going to talk a little bit. So what are you doing now? We got a little bit of the history. What's happening currently for the Green Party?
The way that our chapter works is a lot of the members go out and they go out into the community and work with different groups in the community. So we're heavily involved with Move to Amend, also with the efforts to pass SB 56 single payer in California, and Save the Bear River.
There's been a lot of talk about that. What's happening with the Bear River right now?
Right now, the Army is still doing their study. However, the NID is moving forward with acquiring property and they've hired consultants to do research, I think to the tune of $200,000.
And they want to build a dam.
They want to build a third dam in a 15-mile radius.
Which of course affects Colfax and a lot of the communities along the river.
Absolutely, and it is the last existing sacred crematorium site for the Nisenan people. So they want to cover that with water. And of course, ironically, the other sites are already covered by dams.
It's interesting because I've actually done some support. We've had on the show Grace and Coney, representatives of the Maidu and also the Nisenan. We covered the Nisenan Cultural Heritage Day also at Sierra College. And that was one of the concerns of the ancestral and the importance of these areas that are going to be flooded. I know where I grew up in Connecticut, Massachusetts area, they actually closed down 3 whole towns and flooded a huge valley basically to create a reservoir. And of course, water is an issue, dams are an issue. We just had the scare recently in Oroville that happened. I actually got to interview Mike Hubbard up at the dam. It was a beautiful day, and just to get some of the insights of some of the people in the community and people who work there. So besides the impact, it's a real potential long-term issue.
It is, and it also affects things like our air quality. And my thing is that if you build it, they will come. So if you build a dam to service more people with water, we're going to get more people into our area. And it's not only the cost of the dam, but it is the costs that are incurred with the resources. So we're going to need more fire department services. We're going to need more police services.
And of course, you've seen has anyone driven 174 recently? There's thousands of trees that are orange taped and tagged to be cut because they want to expand, which is a real beautiful drive. It's part of the magic, I think, of the foothills, but they want to expand Highway 174.
Absolutely. It's a domino effect. There'll be more traffic. There'll be more crime. All the things that come with expansion. And the thing that makes our area beautiful is that we've been able to keep that at a minimum. We've had a slow growth that we can manage. But right now, all of our services are being taxed as it is, and building this dam, I think, will cause another heavy bleed to what we already pay in.
Any other things you'd like to update us on what you're doing, and also how people can get in touch if they want to get more educated and informed and possibly more active?
Absolutely. We have our Facebook page. We are the Nevada County Green Party on Facebook. You can find us there. We also have a website, nevadacountygreenparty.org. You can donate via our website.
I found out the other day there's almost 400 nonprofits in Nevada County.
In the area, yeah.
I think it's one of the most densely populated nonprofit zones almost in the country.
Well, several greens were also involved last year. We had the Love Event, which was an event to promote the nonprofits in the organization and try to get more people to do volunteer work for our local nonprofits, which are many.
So if you're sitting around using your finger spinners, one of those new little accessories that has no purpose except to distract you from probably doing something worthwhile with your time, or you're just bored, get in touch with the Green Party, and we're trying to do this show to help inspire people to enrich the quality of the community that we live in. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Where can I get one of these? Maybe they have one in the men's version.
I might have an extra.
Okay, very zen, very zen. So Nicole Ragland from the Nevada County Green Party, let's give her a nice round of applause. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
And the next part of the show we're going to do is called Being Green, and we kind of have a tongue-in-cheeky style song for this. But nonetheless, it's about the importance of our relationship to the environment and the natural world. And again, regardless of your beliefs or what political party or affiliation or what kind of music you listen to, we try to showcase and highlight some of the things that affect the quality of life for all of us. So let's go back to Yvette and Gabrielle with another one of our jingles called Being Green.
I love to breathe the crisp, clean air along the mountain trail. Recycle all my household trash and fill my garbage pail. Being green, being green, being green. Treading lightly on the land, oh, being green, being green. Walking softly on the earth. I love to swim in waters clean beneath the noonday sun. Eating GMO-free organically can be so very fun. Being green, being green, being green. Treading lightly on the land, oh, being green, being green. Walking softly on the earth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's hard not to laugh when I hear that. We're adding more lyrics to that. There's plenty to talk about. But yes, compost pails, we all need them, don't we? So our next guest on the show probably needs no introduction. And I'm fairly new to the community. I've been here about 6 years. I moved here from Santa Cruz, where I worked for the Theater Arts Department at the University of California. And like many of us, I came up here about 8 years ago and just fell in love with the area, the lack of traffic, and a little better air quality. And a big part of it was just the quality of what I saw happening to the ocean there, between a lot of problems with sanitation and sewage, and of course, the world post-Fukushima. So that's a topic for another show, but nonetheless, I'm very happy to have our next guest on the show. She was at one point, well, she's now on the city council and previously mayor of Nevada City. Did I get it right? Yep. All right, I'm on the hot seat. I got to do this right now. I'm in trouble. But put your hands together and let's welcome to the show Renette Senum.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, so I see you every time, you know, you're on Commercial Street, you're on Broad Street, you're planting flowers, you're cleaning up, you're doing things. And first of all, thank you so much for all that you do for the community. It was very obvious from the day I arrived that you're a very committed and follow-through and compassionate person.
Thank you very much.
And so here we are at Being Green, and I know when we talked the other day, we have a new business in town, the Heartwood.
Awesome.
Yum yum. You got all sorts of grain bowls and protein and sauce choices, but we got to talk a little bit. You had just met with, I guess, some of the folks who did the Yuba Village.
That's Yuba Village Building Convergence, that's correct.
And just start right there. How were you involved? Were you involved in that directly, or?
I was just indirectly, I was involved with the Yuba Village Building Convergence. They were having big events, and an author named Starhawk, who wrote The Fifth Sacred Thing and other books, and they're doing a lot of workshops on community building as well as having a street closure because quite a few years ago, we started with the idea of having a town square, bringing a town square back to Nevada City. So we put this little parklet in on Commercial Street called the Boardwalk. It was very controversial, amazingly controversial, and it survived. And now the next phase is to take on, okay, let's start drawing the plans, getting the public in to see what kind of input we want on this concept. And the reason why we're doing this is because back in the late 60s, our town square, which was nothing more than a nexus of roads coming together, but it was completely eviscerated by Highway 49. And interestingly enough, communities and cities and towns around the country were eviscerated through the heart of their towns for highways.
Which, for folks don't know, is right next to the 150-some-odd-year historic National Hotel. Which
That's correct, and it took out a third of the historic town, actually, removed most of the buildings. It's kind of crazy. So the objective is to bring that town square, because that's the place you say, oh, Betty Sue is sick, we need to make her a meal, or John is doing a barn raising tomorrow. Well, we lost that, and that's, studies have been done. You cannot be a complete, holistic community without a town square. And so that's what we're bringing back. So we are now combining forces with Yuba Village Building Convergence and a musician known as the Polish Ambassador, David Chagowski, and his partner Ayla is going to be singing and doing a concert on Friday, November 3rd at the Foundry in Nevada City. What's really cool about this is we have them and a young group of people called the Futurists of Nevada County, who are 20, 30-year-olds who are like, we don't know how government works, we don't get it, you know, I got a degree, but I don't know how. So the objective was find a goal, and we're going to mentor you, and we're going to, through that mentorship, we're going to teach you how government works. So they came on with, we want to help with that town square idea. So these two forces coming together, and the objective is to do this big old awesome concert at the same time, launch a Kickstarter campaign. And we're doing something really fun to do something really dry. And what we're doing is raising tens of thousands of dollars for a $30,000 traffic study, to cover $4,000 in city staff fees, to cover 2 public workshops, as well as any kind of city fees. So what we're doing is removing all the barriers from the city saying we can't do it. We don't have the time, we don't have the money, we don't have the staff. We're removing the barriers and so we can move forward in the dream.
Which seems kind of ludicrous because not only are we now one of the top small towns for arts and culture in the country, but it's a historic zone, and we really don't even allow smoking there because of the threat of fire. So the idea that we can kind of be a model for other people, because, I mean, in New England we have these, but in a lot of towns I've noticed, what do they have at the center? They have strip malls.
That's right.
We've really lost that ability to come together in the center of our communities and get to know each other and have the kids play and talk about these various issues. And even though technology's done a lot to bring us together, in some ways it's also separated us.
Yeah, there's this digital divide going on, and we're all behind our closed doors in front of our laptops and our iPhones, and we're actually separated and alone, and depression's never been higher, and loneliness has never been higher. And we know for a fact that if you get down into town and you have face-to-face connections, it'll elevate the serotonin and you'll be much healthier and happier because of that.
Interesting, because even on NPR today I was listening to, I kind of listened to some of the other shows here. They were talking about the important effects of talking to strangers and the effects of that on the brain. So some of these things are kind of social norms of what we've been taught or how we've been raised, but we're also starting to see through the thin veil that a lot of these paradigms or perspectives are not working, and we have to kind of reinvent ourselves and bring back some of these older values and traditions of how we lived as communities.
That's right. And the thing is one of the reasons why I ran for city council years ago, I was looking at maybe I should run for county supervisor, but I realized in order to create a tipping point, you need to reach 15 to 20% of the public, and then you can change and shift culture. It seemed easier to do with 3,100 people in Nevada City, that's our population, versus 100,000 in Nevada County. And the objective is to shift culture by doing these more community-oriented things. But the other thing is that when I look at what's going on in the world, I'm like, I can't change the world, it's too big. But if we can change this little community and make it the paradigm we want to live in, right, and become the leader, when people come here, whether we're going to have 50 to 100,000 people moving here, I don't know where they're going to live, in 5 years, we want them to come here so we can shift them into our culture, rather than them shifting us into their culture. Because the truth of the matter is, they're attracted to us because when they walk into this town, they go, wow, this is what a community feels like. This is a sense of place. We're like, yes. But more importantly, what we'd love for you to do is come visit. We'll give you the seeds, go back home and plant those babies.
And even better, if you go around Grass Valley in Nevada City, you won't see big chains or box stores. Everything is local and mom and pop. And of course, we have Sierra Harvest here. We have, I think, something like 40 or more organic farms. Almost every day of the week, we have a farmer's market. And again, that's really some of the things that enticed me to move here, that it really is, actually Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, actually had a dream about this city of gold in the hill, and people would be drawn there as the world collapses and crumbles. And he actually named Nevada City later.
I actually think it's an ncscooper.com fake story, to be honest. Yeah.
Is that a fake? Oh no, it's fake news.
Yeah, that's NC Scooper. You can thank them for that.
Well, some of the news I did hear, and he's going to be up in just a few minutes. Payom Riles, he's a civil engineer, but he told me that, you know, and again, sometimes we're a little bit ahead of the curve.
We are.
He told me at one point you were where Halo is now, and you were actually teaching people about how to do food preservation. And can you tell us a little bit about some of your work or what you were doing back then?
Well, basically, it started with 2005. I became concerned with peak oil, of all things, and I realized that whether it was man-made, like artificial prices being hiked or reduced, or we were running out of oil, it didn't matter. We were vulnerable. So the objective was, we started with a group of people, Apple, Alliance for a Post-Petroleum Local Economy, and it all became about developing our local economy, and food preservation was one of them. So you're growing your food, but then how do you store it? What do you do? So really what we're trying to do ultimately is just reclaim our roots. Do what our grandparents did. That's really it's nothing scary. Some people get scared by it, like we don't want change. It's like, look we're doing the things your grandparents did that got you here in the first place. It's not a bad thing. And so we're reclaiming that, and the youth are really craving that right now, and they're really craving that kind of connection as well. So
yeah, it could be really scary coming up in this day and age as a youth. Like you said, they don't know how to be politically active, they don't know what to do. They've grown up in the whole, what they call it Generation Glow now, because everyone is so rooted to looking at their cell phones all the time, and their faces are always lit, that they've been isolated from some of these traditions that have been such a rich part of our culture here, not just in Nevada County, but here in this great country of the United States of America.
Right, there's been a great separation over the generations, and the truth of the matter is it's extraordinarily unhealthy to lose those roots. Once you do, you become isolated, and you don't feel like you're connected to anything that came before you, and it does bring you into depression and isolation, and that's not healthy. So
well, let's do this. Speaking about Generation Glow and Generation X, I know that I did research recently, and they said most people have about a 2-minute attention span.
That's right.
So let's do this. Let's get back to a little bit of some entertainment. I think DJ Power probably has another song or so, huh?
Yeah, I got always some music.
All right, let's go over to DJ Power and
the Green Party. I like what they're doing. You know, stick with the structure of things, keeping that down, those dams and all the extra stuff they want to do. Not because it attracts more people. Because I'm a transport. We are coming. Okay, we're here. Edgar Cayce, like he said this, all that people coming is going to be more crime. No, You come here, we got something for the crime stuff, all right? We're not into that here, but like, people are coming. This is planet Earth, 196,947,000 square miles, which is a weight of 6 trillion tons, which is a unit followed by 21 ciphers. For every inch of this planet. There's plenty of room. All that, no, sounds too bushy. But I'll say this, people are coming, and they will be constructive. They build. I own a few businesses here. I employ people here. I counsel people here. I'm the biggest DJ academy in the world here. Like, man, let's play some music, man. How about the party? And we'll color in front of it. Brooklyn. Love you, Nevada City, Nevada County, Grass Valley. DJ Power, Hip Hop Medicine Crew. DJPower.org, hiphopmedicine.com. Take a look. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful music for beautiful people.
Can't you see we're done? And we have done this to ourselves. Can you feel the fun apart? Somehow I'm moving closer. Uncover the reason how we can let it go is far. Blinded, we've been guided. Dusted compass swinging upside down.
Now the next segment, you know, we always have our tear your living room up, all my sock dancers out there. We ain't get into that yet. It's been a little dramatic start. Now we're gonna get into the fun stuff in a little while. We got more guests for you. This is Gold Road TV, we're back. Hope you tuning back in. In fact, I believe we expanded.
Secrets garnished and old can't say. Come now, let all blood call the path, the pulse that brings us closer to all of us, all of us, all of
Just a little Golden Road TV music to breathe to, you know, sit back, get into your Sundays in, you know what I mean? That's how we do it. Gotta switch it up sometime, you know? If you're enjoying this, it's more.
great. I just sat back and breathed. Nice and
saw a little
relaxing.
Zen music. We had an emotional time in our family. Big up to Dove Moses. You know, I got a granddaughter now, you know what I mean? She was born on the 14th, little Roomy. Big up to Dove and Tay, new baby. You know what I mean? So it's nice. Finally a girl in the family, all boys.
And I'll tell you, you look great on set here.
Yeah, you know what? It's Steph, man. You know, she's a genius. Like, you know.
Yeah, nice round of applause
Genius.
back there.
Like
Stephanie
staff back there.
Stephanie Molman.
She's a genius, I'm telling you. Like, she makes us all look, you know what I mean?
And of course, we're here
yes,
on the set of Snake in the Grass. It's another production by Quest Theater Works. I mean, we have... Again, thank you so much, Grass Valley Center for the Arts. It's amazing the amount of consistent, great shows and talent that you have here. And in just a few minutes, we're going to actually have up Gil Dominguez, who recently did the broadcast of the Dancing with Our Stars. So lots more show to come. But let's get back. We're talking a little bit about sustainability, and I know we could talk about a lot of things, and I really hope that you know you can come back. You're always welcome. Maybe we'll get you to hostess a show at one point. But I know a big buzzword right now is this idea of community resiliency. Can you talk a little bit about that and some of the things maybe that you're doing or what's, again, happening here in our community and how people can get involved?
Well, it's pretty easy to get involved, to be honest. I think one of the best things to do is come down to our Nevada City Farmers Market on Saturdays from about 8:30 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon every Saturday downtown Nevada City. And you can kind of get that feeling and sense. But ultimately, I think what's been happening over the years is that people have been realizing that we have to learn how to really sustain ourselves and not be dependent upon those outside of our area. And
of course, the hurricane in Florida and Houston showed that. Actually, I read the headlines where the governor of Florida came out and said on national media, like, do something because we cannot help you.
Yeah, you're on your own.
You're on your own.
So I think that that's the thing that we've kind of thought somebody was always going to take care of us. And I go back to reclaiming our roots. Our grandparents, they had food stored in the cellar, right? They knew how to repair their own clothes. They knew how to grow their own food. And this is the stuff that builds communities. So part of it is getting people to take on, you don't have to do all of it. You can become the beekeeper and you can become the potato farmer, right? So our objective is for everyone to do their part, and ultimately, and I learned this from a woman who was on our board many years ago of our Apple organization. Her name's Anya, and she's Polish and was in Poland during their economic crash, and she said the thing that made them survive was not because they just had a pig farmer or a wheat farmer or somebody who had beets that made the sugar, but they knew the farmers, they knew those people, they were networked. So part of it is being networked. And that network comes to the face-to-face connection, and that's where the town square concept comes, is if we know each other, and I know who you are and what skills you have, then basically I know who to go to. I'm not alone. I don't need to know all that, but I have a network of those who have those skills and expertise. And so it's about building resiliency in volatile times, but it's also building that incredible sense of community where you don't feel alone and isolated any longer, which the majority of Americans do.
Well, understandable. I mean, I went through an airport just a few weeks ago. Wait a minute, excuse me. I got to take this text message here. Excuse me, just... All right, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. Wait, I got to check my YouTube. Wait, you guys see my Instagram? Oh, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I am joking because even though technology does connect us and we're broadcasting with technology, it's time to re-explore the essential nature of our human connection, especially around community and sustainability. And all the people that we have here on the show, we'd like to showcase because all of them are deeply committed to that. Right. So we could go on for a while, but I know we don't want to, have people wait too long. We have a lot more guests and live music coming up. So words of inspiration from Renette Senham. Get people active. And I want to say this. I found out recently that you are 1966, a fire horse also.
That's right.
And DJ Power, another fire horse. Any more fire horses 1966 out there? Nope. All right. Well, we're getting organized, so look out.
I know.
Fire horses, people like George Lucas, Genghis Khan.
There you go.
I
know, watch out.
Watch out.
We're no Genghis Khan. No.
So, but some words of inspiration, and again, I know you're doing so much. Thank you The sunflowers look amazing.
Thank you. They had a rough patch this year on the boardwalk. They got removed, and we replanted big, huge ones, and they survived, so it was kind of funny. But words of wisdom. You know, all I can say is my favorite saying, which is an indigenous saying, is give thanks to unknown blessings already on their way. So I would just expect good things to come and focus on that. That's what you bring into your world. So I think as a community, we're focusing on the good, and we're focusing on community building, and that's what we need to do is keep our eye on the ball during all the storm and all the hectic everything, right? Keep your eye on the ball.
And be proactive before the, you know, the 8.5 quake or something else horrible happens, another Oroville Dam.
Get to know your neighbor. It's an easy thing to do.
Now, is there a way, because I know you're very aware and educated in a lot of these issues, is there a way people can contact you through Facebook?
Actually, well, Facebook, Renette Senum. It's a funny name. It's R-E-I, like the store R-E-I, N-E-T-T-E, and then Senum, S-E-N-U-M. And you can also go to my blog. I have a website called thefoghornexpress.com. And don't forget the T-H-E, thefoghornexpress.com.
All right, my ears are ringing already. So, Renette, thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, besides all that you do, it's always a pleasure to see you. And nice round of applause for Renette.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So let's go over now. Again, we have Rebecca Funk and Jim Heckenbach. Let's go over now to one of more of our theme songs. We're going to do a quick switch over, and we're going to have our next guest on the show with Gift of Health with Justin Burkett. So stay tuned, lots more show here on the Golden Road.
It's a golden road, TV show. Yes, it's a golden road. TV show. Well, we've got it all going on here. It's a Golden Road TV show. .com.
Share the knowledge that heals the darkness with a holistic light. Share the priceless gifts of ages, better quality of life. For the mind and for the body, for the spirit so true. 'Tis a gift of good health that we bring to you. Share the knowledge that heals the darkness with a holistic light, with the priceless cures of ages, better quality of life, for the mind and for the body, for the spirit so true. 'Tis the gift of good health that we bring to you.
Wow, so beautiful. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you so much, and Gabrielle. So welcome to the next part of the show. It's called Gift of Health, and this is just practically where we'd like to help enrich your quality of life by some very simple and health tips. Our guest tonight, I actually just met recently through a friend of mine, Shari Brookler, who we actually did a performance together in a workshop up at the Camptonville School, working with some of the youth around drumming, dance, and community building. You know, getting kids in their bodies, getting them empowered, and letting them know it's okay to let their voice be heard. And so I met them recently, and we had a really great discussion because synchronistically, They're talking about doing some work as far as a traveling show and helping to educate people about health and the environment and inspire people. So I'd like to welcome to the show, to Golden Road, to Gift of Health, Justin Burkett. So welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. This is really exciting.
Great, great. And again, we're broadcasting live on YouTube and Ustream. Something I do want to mention real quick is in November, we're going to be doing a 6-county tour, really focusing on community building and panels and think tanks. So we'll talk more about that, but it's really exciting. We have the dates and we have the venues that are being donated. Auburn, Nevada City, Chico at the Women's Club, up in Mount Shasta, also Art Truckee up in Truckee area. So people are really wanting this information and really want to help it's a lot of work and it takes some knowledge and strategies to network and build communities. So I know that we had talked about a little bit about your upcoming ideas that you're working on, but you do Chinese medicine.
Yeah, I've been doing this since 2001. Kind of an exciting thing for me was being an acupuncturist on a cruise ship. I think that's where the whole traveling medicine...
Wait a minute, acupuncture on a cruise ship?
Yeah.
You incorporated the waves? I've been on a cruise ship.
It was so relaxing. I'm thinking about how to design that into like a structure of a bed where you can get that rocking motion of the ocean. It really added to the relaxation effect.
Bring back the water bed.
Yeah,
the water massage table acupuncture treatment.
Maybe something with a float tank or something like that. Yeah.
Very nice. And so how did you get involved in Chinese medicine?
Originally, I was on my way to Western medicine. I got my degree in biochemistry at UCLA. About my 3rd year there, I realized that something is wrong here. Something is wrong with this system. It's just using drugs to try to fix everything that goes wrong, not taking any account into like the yin and yang of it. And that was, I guess, the thing. I got into Eastern philosophy, started looking at yin and yang, and it just kind of hit me like a light bulb one time that all these equations we're looking at, this is the balance of yin and yang forces, and maybe there's a better way of understanding how to bring that balance back.
And it's such an interesting time because now we're starting to, in Western medicine, look at the idea of the connection between the mind and the body, also our sense of our own spirituality and self-awareness. But nonetheless, these ancient traditions, Chinese medicine, Tibetan medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, go back thousands of years, and it's based on the concept of elements. Is that correct?
That's a great perfect thing. Part of the earth. The earth comes inside of us, and this is what's really cool about the modern approach. We're able to see that we have this microbiome inside of us. This is the earth, these living creatures living inside of our guts, and they're providing a lot of the nutrition, a lot of the amino acids and the essential things we need. And if we kill those gut bacteria, those gut microbes, we're in trouble. And this is one thing we were talking about the other day about glyphosate, this Roundup.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Monsanto, look out. All right. So we were talking about which affect the water. So tell us a little bit of the effects of glyphosate.
Glyphosate, yeah. One of the things I was reading was that it inhibits these gut microbes. And it's not just happening in our guts, but it's also happening in the rivers and all the way these farms wash down into the ocean. Everywhere the water goes, this stuff is going, and it's having a detrimental effect. And that's one of the reasons why I think that working with the earth is so important. And working with the earth inside of our bodies, absolutely essential. We call it the spleen and stomach in Chinese medicine terms. It's one of the 5 elements. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because, of course, I walk around now, I see everybody drinking kombucha and Kavita, and everybody's taking probiotics. And I heard recently, I had on the show, actually, I went down to Sacramento and did a shoot for the University of California, Davis, about what they're doing with regenerative medicine. And some of it relates to stem cells. But in their understanding of health, they actually have mapped certain patterns in the gut, in the stomach of people, and they realize that these certain conditions, which are very traceable, are symptomatic and what creates certain illnesses and health conditions. So they're really seeing that whatever the environment in the stomach is, when you chart that, has a repercussion on the body and the mind and this general state of health.
Were some of those ideas about the stomach, were they about like fatigue, low energy, swelling.
Like chronic fatigue syndrome.
Even just like regular tiredness, this thing we get, this muzzy-headed, foggy feeling, your body holding on to more fluids, kind of tendency to overanalyze and worry. These are a lot of the problems that show up when specifically the gut is affected. You get other patterns when different organs are, having their issues. But that one particularly, we find in Chinese medicine, they mapped this out a while ago. I was wondering if you remember any of those.
And what are the different elements? I know they talk about
we got
earth.
the earth element. Consider that right in the middle. And then you also have the fire element, and the fire element feeds the earth element gives us the metal element gives us the water element gives us the wood. It's kind of a cycle. It's a generative cycle. And it's working in nature, it's working inside of our bodies. And one of the cool things about Chinese medicine is we're able to parse out that based on your signs and symptoms, have an idea of which elements are out of balance, and work with our acupuncture, work with our herbs, work with our lifestyle changes.
And of course, everyone who comes in probably has a different symptom or a different diet or nutritional deficiency. It's not like you just have one.
Everybody's a story. Yeah, and so part of it is, teaching them to rewrite their story. Yeah, and you can't just fix things with pills. Yeah.
You can mask them, though.
Oh, yeah, great. Yeah, that works. For a little bit.
We don't want to go off on a tangent, but it is really disturbing. I know just recently, even President Trump had mentioned the opioid crisis that we're having in this country. And a lot of my friends I talk to who have kids who are in their 20s, and whether it started with an injury and a pain pill or something, just to see the level of how we're pharmaceuticalizing a whole generation of kids, and then how that feeds into antidepressants, how that feeds into all these things, not even to mention our digestion and our body's physical health, just the impact that has on the general social state of mental health.
But the opioids, that's interesting. When they first started looking at the effects of acupuncture, that was one of the first things they noticed, is it's working on that opioid system. You're stimulating the body to make its own stuff. So for people trying to get off of that stuff, looking for alternatives to pain, there's nothing better than acupuncture.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So what are some of the other treatments? We were considering doing moxibustion today, but I think with the set, we didn't want to burn the center down, so we're going to resist. But what is moxibustion? I know you talked a little bit about that.
Moxibustion, this is a combination of herbs that they press into a kind of like cigar shape, and you light it and you burn it over points. So you're not necessarily puncturing the skin, but you're over the points. So it's one of those therapies that you don't have to necessarily hold a license in order to puncture the skin, but it's a therapy people can use to...
And it pulls out toxins, or it stimulates joint health? Or?
It moves the blood, it opens the vessels. It's very like oh shoot, I'm losing my words here. But it opens the blood, so it gets more blood flowing. There's a saying in Chinese medicine, when the qi is blocked, you're going to have pain. You have pain because the qi and the blood are blocked. So the solution to pretty much everything in Chinese medicine is move the qi in the blood. And that takes care of so much. Stagnation is the enemy.
So we have another minute or two left. What's something, because we're Gift of Health, we want to leave you with something you can do in the comfort or convenience of your own home. Sometimes we might not be able to afford some of these so-called alternative therapies or non-Western therapies, and then we end up at somewhere like a Ubidox or the hospital. But what's something someone can do who's watching to just have a better and higher quality of health?
Well, I'll tell you something. I learned this from a guru of mine. It is better to first give a deep breath before taking a deep breath. You see people when they're so stressed out, and you get this really bad advice. People mean it. They intend a good thing when they say, ooh, take a deep breath. But when you're so stressed out, you can't really take it. But if you first give a deep breath.
I think we should how about we try that, right? This is an experiential, hands-on, participatory show, so maybe just lead us all in a breath or two here.
So, on the count of 2, give every breath. Until there's nothing left, squeeze it out.
Bring the knees to the chest too. Okay, we're gonna. And then we breathe back in. Okay, so count us in here. Ready?
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Give. Push it. Squeeze it. Give everything until there's nothing left. A little bit more. And then what happens?
I almost fell out of my chair. I got so relaxed. But I think the message is in giving we also receive, correct?
And there's that as well. And that's a double bonus.
All right, how about a nice round of applause for Justin Burkett? And Justin, you're also a musician, right?
That is my primary medicine, I'd say.
All right, so he's going to be back in just a little bit to share a song with us. We have lots more coming up in just a minute. We're going to have our local business focus with Touchdown Productions with Gil Dominguez and another person who really does a lot for the community. And then after that, we have Payom Riles, a civil engineer. We're going to be talking a little bit more about resiliency. And I'm also working in collaboration with some people from the Bay Area who are all working in this area. They're very involved in STEAM, helping to reduce some of the public education system, to elevate the level of education that we're offering our kids in this country outside of what's available in the general public schools, and lots more. We're going to have some live music, and you guys having a good time? All right. I don't hear any snoring, so I think we're okay. So let's do this. How about we go back to DJ Power, and we'll have a little bit of some music, and we'll be back. And again, thank you so much for tuning into Golden Road TV and radio, podcasting every week.
Yeah. How y'all feel out there? All right. Yeah, DJ Pound the building, Grass Valley, Funky Mountain. That's what this is. Renamed it Funky Mountain, man. You know, me and Mikey, we got together with our friend Zotar. Mikey, we still got some Zotar going on? What's going on with that thing with Zotar, man? You know, did we find him a date yet, or?
Well, it's funny.
I got somebody, I think.
Well, because DJ Power and I were out at a late night. We did a gig, and on our way back, we stopped, and we actually met this incredible Swami called Zoltar. He likes to hang out at amusement parks, especially around Coney Island. But,
yeah, that's where he's from, Coney.
Yeah, he's always there, and he's an incredibly insightful, enlightened being.
Yeah, he's at those.
But he's boxed in.
Yeah, he's boxed in a lot. You know, makes a lot of money though, daily, constantly.
So we're going to do a Zoltar dating game coming up on the show, and also he offers us a little bit of some wisdom of the week. So he'll be coming back, and I didn't bring it tonight. As we're getting closer to Halloween, he gifted me with a very special crystal ball oracle, which I'm going to bring on the show next week.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Lots happening. Lots happening.
I have to say big up to my whole family. You know, rest in power to my little brother TC Islam. You know, Father Hipstep, you know what I mean? About 2 months ago, he's just not here no more, but his music will be forever. My baby brother, TC Islam. Love you, my man. This is how you remix stuff. I'm sure you heard this record before, but not like this. What we do. Tables. Get real. That was right there, baby. Let's work. Now, all my sock dancers, I promise you, we're gonna come back and tear your house up, right? That's how we do it. Hipstep massive out there. Keep your heads up. Uncle Hipstep is keeping it going. The father's blessing. Big up the Queen Amani. He's in charge of all Hipstep now. Love it. Peace.
Golden Road TV show. It's the Golden Road TV show. Well, listen once, listen twice. Oh, won't you please take my advice? It's the Golden Road TV show.com.
And we're back. And another round of applause for DJ Power. Always Caribbean style over there, right? And we also want to send some thoughts and prayers to the Caribbean. Of course, a lot of people, I was actually surprised to hear that still millions of people without water and electricity and food. So we're sending out our prayers and good intentions to all the folks there. And before we go on to our local business focus, and I'm really happy to have him on the show, I just want to give some props to, well, she's here singing tonight, but I also want to acknowledge Yvette Cadeau, who is the event organizer for the Through the Lens independent film festival happening at NCTV. So give us a little insight to what you've been up to.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Well, and I got involved with NCTV back in 2015, I believe it was, or late 2014. Cheryl Noble, our former station manager, had an event called Foothill Films, and it was a screenplay writing contest that evolved into a filmmaking event. And Cheryl did Foothill Films 2 years in a row, in 2014 and 2015. And then NCTV went through a hiatus and a transition where we were moving to a new location. Throughout this time, I was on the board, and because that was one.
And also NCTV now has a new director, executive director,
yes,
too.
Yes,
right?
that's Ramona Howard.
And she's done some incredible stuff. I actually went and visited the studio. There's a full green screen there now, and I know for probably almost a year we produced our show there. And again, I want to give kudos out to all the people that helped carry cable and lay cable and plug the cameras in, because it was an empty room, but now it's a fully functioning production studio, correct?
Yes, yes. Ramona is functioning as our station manager and executive director, and she's just done wonders with the new studio. We have a new cyclorama, which is a green screen. It's a fancy word for a green screen, and we have a state-of-the-art editing suite. It kind of looks like the bridge of. And so we are really excited about Through the Lens. That was the name of Foothill Films, is now called Through the Lens. So we've changed the name. It's called Through the Lens, a script to silver screen event. And we have 6 films, which will be premiering at our Red Carpet Gala on October 1st at the Del Oro Theater. So we're very excited to be back at the Del Oro, which was the location of the first Foothill Films, which is now called Through the Lens. And I see that you have Gil Dominguez there in the hot seat, and he was actually one of the directors for one of the films in 2014.
Fantastic. So if people want more information, and again, the dates of the actual film festival again?
Yes,
which is almost sold out, I heard.
Well, it will be sold out. I feel pretty confident. Tickets are selling briskly, and it's a project. It's a process. It began as a script writing contest in April, and the prize for the winning screenplay writers was they got the chance to make a movie. And all summer they were making their films. They just finished the final post-production process, and the films are now being compiled into a Blu-ray disc, which will be aired on October 1st. Not aired, I apologize. It will be screened on the big screen at the Del Oro Theater on October 1st. It's going to be a real exciting red carpet gala premiere, Hollywood style. So we're just really excited about it.
Oh, super fun. So again, just another opportunity to come out and support some of the great arts and culture community here in Nevada County. And of course, you mentioned Gil Dominguez, and I actually got to spend a little bit of time with Gil, as busy as he is, the other day, and was actually amazed at the depth of what he's been doing here in the community, not just covering events and his involvement with NCTV in the past, but also what he's doing for helping youth be seen and for the sports community here. So nice round of applause as we welcome Touchdown Productions and Gil Dominguez to the Golden Road. So thank you. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot, Michael.
So,
Nice setup you got here. Of course, looking at all the production technique that you guys are employing for this show, and I'm a big fan of anything television, so kudos to all the crew back there and the production assistants out there and in the audience that make this happen. TV does not happen by accident.
And it's so funny because, now, of course, anybody with a smartphone can stream to their Facebook page. But when we do these productions, they are 4 and 5 camera shoots. So I've done production in the past, but you have been doing this in Nevada County for 21
years. We moved here in 1997, and it's actually my 37th year in the industry because I did this for 17 years in Hollywood before I moved up here.
Oh, interesting. So what were you doing in Hollywood?
I was working for one of the local channels, KVMR TV, and it was a small station at that time. Now it's the #1 station in Los Angeles. And so you really have the opportunity to do everything from the ground floor up, from operating the transmitter to working in the tape room to camera, of course, and
the joy of editing, of course.
Well, that came later. I was the audio person there, the main audio person for about 7 years, and then moved into technical directing, and then worked into editing as well. So finished up.
I think I'm on the hot seat right now, Yvette. I don't know. He's an old pro here.
Well, and speaking of, the movie event Through the Lens, working with Tony Rondini and her screenplay, Only a Little Famous, which was an adaptation of the Goldie Hawn movie. That was the first movie that I had ever made. And that's completely different than making a television show, which is pretty instantaneous, and you don't get to go back and redo different parts of it or whatever. But in the movie, we had 5 different locations, from the airport to the Holiday Inn to houses, and so it was a real creative endeavor making a movie instead of just television. So certainly something that was fun. I'd like to probably try again at some point.
So you really worked in all facets of media, really, as far as film and broadcasting. And I think what's really exciting, this is how I first heard of you, you are doing such an incredible job of broadcasting the local sports events. And when we talked the other day, you actually developed it to where you're even giving out Player of the Game awards and doing a lot of things. So just for people who might not know, you tell us a little bit what you're doing here for the sports and the youth community in Nevada County.
Well, the name of that show is the NorCal Game of the Week, and that is our flagship program, now in its 21st season. So this last Friday we were at Placer High School, and they were playing a non-conference game against Laguna Creek. It was also...
Who won?
Placer bowled them over 49-12.
Wow.
So it was over at halftime, and then they went into a running clock, because if you're more than 35 points ahead, then they just let the clock run. They don't get the game over because it's already decided. But the fun thing there is that it was also senior night and it was homecoming, so we got to capture all of those activities as well in the broadcast. And our player of the game sponsor is Bill Slade and Sons Trucking, and he really enjoys us getting the trophies, and we go down to the field and interview the player after the game and hand them their trophy. And it's just really fun being part of the overall foothill sports scene. We broadcast games from Nevada Union, Bear River, Colfax, and Placer. Those are the main campuses in the foothills. And so next week we'll be on the road down to Rockland. Nevada Union's opening up league play there, and then they'll go to Del Oro the week after that. So the next 2 weeks we'll be on the road, the Golden Road.
There we go. Thank you for that. So when people watch the game of the week, are you in front of the camera? Are you announcing? I know you have a whole team of people, and I was really impressed that you have such a committed core of people, very much like our upstart here with all of us. But what do you usually do on the game of week?
Right, and since you mentioned that, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. It's a long road to get to 1 year.
Lots of stress.
But you're right. We've got a dedicated team. Marty Mortensen is one of our main announcers. He's in his 20th season with us this year. Paul Brown has 12 seasons in. And, youth must be served. And we brought on a new guy this year, David Klein, who's doing a really good job right out of the box with color. And he's doing a little bit of play-by-play. So it's really important to have those people working with you, and because you don't make television by yourself. And
you've also been serving the larger community too. I guess I saw a few of your spots that you're doing with people like SPD, just helping to really showcase a lot of these locally based mom and pop businesses that are here in our community.
Well, commercial production is all part of our mission statement. You really can't just do one thing up here. It's kind of a small community. So whether it's working with the Center for the Arts or dance productions or the 4th of July parade or concerts, the sports, of course, commercial production, even transferring, VHS to DVD. I mean, we try to do everything and be a full service production company.
I mean, you really are. Recently, when I go to concerts, they have a new service now. When you leave the show, you can actually get a CD of the concert you just attended. And one of the things when we met out at your place and I saw your great production vehicles, that sometimes after the game, people can actually come and get a DVD of the game.
Yeah, we're recording DVDs in the truck, and we'll have them for sale immediately afterwards. And whether it's Little League or football or a lot of our dance recitals that we do here at the Center for the Arts, the parents want to enjoy these right away. They don't want to wait a week or two to get them and stuff, so we give them the line cut right there out of the truck, and they take it home and have that immediate gratification.
That is really state of the art, right?
Well, it's like your production. Everything is just a step-by-step process, and you plan ahead and make those things available, and you have your burners there, and your discs are already pre-printed. So, and people are amazed that they pop out 9 at a time or whatever, but the real work is in the truck and in the crew and making those edit decisions when you're doing live television.
Great. So with everything you're doing, what's in your immediate future? Something we can let the community know about, maybe an event, or how can they watch Game of the Week? Or I know you also have a very active Facebook page where you're putting out a lot of content for people in the community and around the world.
We have all the trappings, Instagram, Facebook page, of course, my own personal page, and the Touchdown page. We have 5 YouTube channels, so whether you want to watch Game of the Week, you go to the Game of the Week channel. We also have Touchdown Productions Network, which has a lot of our dance material and other shows that we do. There's a Food and Farm Show channel, which was a show that we were producing before. And, there's just lots of ways. This is a great community. There's no shortage of events here. And, you can't even cover them all. You just kind of pick and choose and see which ones are going to be interesting. And that's always been our philosophy, to try to do something somebody else isn't doing right now, and that might be of value to the community. And last year was our 20th anniversary, and that was a big milestone.
Wow, nice round of applause. 20 years doing production here in the community. Amazing, amazing.
And we had a nice party over there at 151, and we showed some highlights, and Brian Hamilton over at the Union did a nice story on us for that event to mark that. So it's any business here in Nevada County, you put in 20 years, and that's a great milestone, because it's not easy to own a business here in our small little community.
And of course, Carrie Brenner has moved to, I believe, Marin, to North Bay, so we now have Brian Hamilton, who's our new editor, and looking forward to possibly having him on the show. And
Brian's a great guy, and actually he had got his start in sports. He was the sports editor. So him and I go way back to work on the sidelines at the games, and there's really a sports fraternity, if you will, with all the local broadcasters, whether it's KNCO and Tom Fitzsimmons, or the guys at the Union, or John Hart, or K-High and the Auburn Journal, and you see these guys out there every week. And so it's just really fun working side by side with them and bringing the sports back to the community, because people are too busy. They can't go to all the games, or especially the away games.
And I really appreciated what you said. It was kind of more of the philosophy behind sports in our community. Do you remember when we were talking, how you said it's a great...
Oh, equalizer.
It really is. And again, you know, sometimes what's happening currently in the world can be so dividing, right? Whether it's our personal beliefs, the music we listen to, the places we like to go. But again, that sports really are the great equalizer. It's a way for us all to come together and, of course, support the youth in our community.
Right. When you're at Hooper Stadium, it doesn't matter whether you're pro-growth or Green Party or Republican or any of the things that are going on in town. Everyone's there to support the miners, and hopefully they have a good showing.
And it's really one of the great things about our community. We all seem to get along and harmoniously cohabitate. So anything you'd like to leave us with? Any hot things on the immediate future? And
no, it's football season right now. So if you like football, this is your season. And really, football is still king here in the foothills and in the Sacramento area. And just a lot of great games still coming up. League play starts. Come out to touchdownproductions.com and see the latest games. And if you see us out there in the community, come on up and be hi. Say hi. You know, don't have to be shy. You know, a lot of people, like, you know, when you went into the truck the other day, that's interesting for people to see what a production truck looks like, or you know, how we put a show together, whatever. And always happy to talk with people about television.
well, it's really nice to have you and do a small part on behalf of Golden Road to return the favor. So thank you so much for all that you do. And you really, you know, just like with Golden Road, sometimes you have to come and you just have to blaze a trail. And, you know, it's nothing new, but nonetheless, all of us are here.
That's what you're doing. You're blazing the trail.
Blazing the trail, amen.
On the Golden Road. And congratulations to everybody on your staff for making it 1 year. That's a great accomplishment.
Well, I will say this real quick, and then we're going to go over to DJ Power. I do want to thank, on doing camera tonight, Claudio Mendonca, right? On light, Stephanie Molman.
Steph.
And you can see Stephanie. I mean, she's doing, one night she's at Vaporella, then she's at Space Rabies here at the
And he's
theater.
part of our crew as well.
Yeah.
Wow. You sure you're not cloned yet? How do you do all of this? It's inconceivable. We want to thank Makila Wind on sound tonight, and we actually have someone new who I met through NCTV. I know your name is Ryan. We're going to get your last name here, but Ryan's here in support tonight. We look forward to working with him in the future, and also a graduate of Nevada Union, I believe. Happy to have her here tonight helping to switch. We have Rebecca Funk.
Yeah, Rebecca.
And of course, Yvette and Gabriella, who do the theme songs and do lots. And of course, Jim Heck helping to switch and making sure the signal is going out. And George helping to bring the piano and all of those. But let's do this now. Let's pick it up a little bit with some music with DJ Power. And we're going to come back because we still have live music with Justin Burkett. And Payom Riles will be up in just a few minutes talking on behalf of what resilience means on behalf of being a civil engineer here in the county. So stay tuned. Lots more. Over to Mr. DJ Power.
Yeah, man, that's good. That's got the football games, man. Good relationship with the kids and all that. Nice guy, nice guy. All right. Listen, this is what we doing. We about to tear the house up. All right? Really. Hey, Rebecca, you ready to dance? Oh, yeah, McKenna is a heck of a musician himself. People don't know that part. He's way back there somewhere, but he gets busy, man. It's a little different. I'm a lover, currently working on my you very much. Vortex. It's never normal. Goes out to all my businessmen. So, hey, the audience, get up and party if you need to, all over, not just at home. I hear the audience right here, Just go to the road. DJ Power. All right. Hold on. No, we're not gonna go out like that. All right. Everybody in Jamaica, how you feel out there? Big up to my family in St. Catharines, all up in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, DJ Power, Golden Road TV. Let's go.
Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Say if you have a paper, you must have a pen. And if you have a start, you must have a end. Say 5 plus 5, it equal to 10. And if you have goat, you put them in a pen. And if you have a rooster, you must have a hen. Now, zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Zungo, zungo, go, zungo, zen. Jump for happiness and jump for joy. You know fi call yellow man no boy. Lady and they used to take fit tire. Where the Lord them calling tire.
I'll give thanks and praise unto the Most High, because who should be the close that pretends unto a man? Because all these things are abomination to the Lord God. Yeah. Cause every day the girls dress up in her trousers. I say what happened to your skirts and blouses? Why can't I man see you in your dresses? All these things unto Jajanal pleases. And every day them a worship vanities. And your greatest lust is jewelries. Mind jolly cure with diseases. Hey, mind jolly cure with diseases. Why ya?
To all the man them who cheat on them woman. And why you know so the thunder stand in our door with a fry pan in her hand? In. Come now. Sometimes my man forget, cool forget, cool forget, cool. Sometimes my man forget, cool forget. Sometimes my man forget, cool forget, cool forget, cool. Sometimes my man forget, cool forget, cool forget. What do you mean now? Maria man and him name is Ricky. From last month him a go on like him crazy.
We're gonna bring it down, Golden Road. Alright, get back into your zen. Throw your house up and get back into your zen. Clean up. See you next week.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle Lawson. That was our little science and tech segue there. Another piece of original music from the master music mind of Gabrielle Lawson, so thank you. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Golden Road TV show. We're also a radio show because we do take the 2 hours of audio. We have a weekly podcast, and we also put it on other radio stations, including KUBU in Sacramento, and I'm also a broadcaster on KVMR, and I do the every other Saturday morning show called The Golden Road. So welcome. A couple things we have coming up over the next week or two. I have a great in-the-field interview with 2 authors. The first author is Jack Alice, and he just recently wrote a book called Blue Sun, Red Sun. And it's a story, kind of an overview of various ancient prophecies and how they might be relevant to some of the changes that are happening in the world. And also I spent some time up in North San Juan, actually right before the recent fire, and I got to interview Mr. Timothy Murray, who just wrote a science fiction action love story called Thumar. And I thought it was a great book because it really highlights, even if people are from different planets and extremely different civilizations, that they can still work together. And in this way, it leads into a romantic relationship between a Thumarian queen and a person here from the Earth. So that's Thumar. Check for that coming up in the next few weeks. We're also going to be out at the Celtic Festival at the fairgrounds, Grass Valley Fairgrounds, in about 2 weeks. We'll be at Just Exactly Perfect, which is a festival that's happening out in Placer County. And next weekend, I'm going to be down at the Sacramento Holistic Expo, the Healing Arts Festival put on by Prasana, interviewing some of the healers there and also performing some music. So my next guest is, he's actually become a really good friend, and you can usually find him, well, behind a desk doing his civil engineering work. But on Thursday nights, he's been known to come to Pioneer Park and to bang on a drum with about 15 or 20 of us at the weekly World Beat Community Drum Circle. So a nice round of applause for Guillaume Riles.
Thanks, Michael.
Whoop, whoop. And I know there's so much we could talk about, but I think one of the things that really struck me is we actually, after the drum circle, we got to know each other, and we started to talk about this idea again of community building, sustainability, permaculture, and resiliency. So for people who maybe are completely unaware of what resiliency means, especially being a civil engineer, what does it mean and how is that pertinent and applied to our community?
Sure. So resiliency is like another kind of buzzword like sustainability that's I'm hearing a lot more in my field of work, and I've seen it other places as well. People talk about it more and more. A lot of it, I think, is because of climate change. People are concerned that there's going to be big changes coming, and they want to be prepared. What can we do? And cities and governments are realizing they need to do more than they have been. And it's something that, you know, we call it resiliency, and we say there's this thing called resiliency that we're doing, but really it's just preparing for the future. And in similar ways, like what we've seen with sustainability, it's more just we need to start looking even farther ahead, planning ahead, doing things before it gets to the point of disaster.
So part of it
one more thing I would say about that is, if a really basic way to break it down is resiliency is a way to prepare a community so that in the event of some kind of disaster, they can recover more quickly or deal with that disaster more easily.
So there's the aspect of kind of first responder, emergency preparedness. And I know actually DJ Power and some of his people today actually had a meeting about, you know, what are they going to do in their community, the hip hop medicine community, to make sure that, you know, between the children and all of them, what can they do to be more prepared for potential changes? I mean, not only hurricanes and things that happen, but just what we saw happen in Mexico alone with the I think it was an 8.1 earthquake and how many people were affected, or even just the reality of, what happens if the electricity goes out. I know we've had a lot of solar flares lately also. So all of these things, what are some other aspects besides the emergency preparedness that come into this concept of resiliency?
Right. So for me, as a civil engineer and what I deal with, a lot of it has to do with our built infrastructure. So that's typical things you might think of as built infrastructure, like bridges or roads or even water systems or wastewater systems. But other things too incorporate what now we're starting to consider infrastructure as like the things that we depend on to live, even rivers and forests and things like that, are really important to our survival. And so when we talk about resiliency, for example, like this hurricane, the flooding is a good example, where if we work more with the natural world in terms of the size that we need to give the river, the floodplain is there for a reason, and when the floodplain floods, that's very important for the ecosystem, for the function of the floodplain, for groundwater recharge. But then also, if we don't build in the floodplain, then that reduces a lot of the disaster in the first place. And so resiliency can be part of that planning ahead, but it can also be the way that we build things in that floodplain. So if we build things that are a little bit taller and they maybe won't get flooded as much, or the bottom floor of that building doesn't have anything that will be damaged in the flood, then and we're aware that might happen.
Which is a big topic now, not just in Houston, but also looking back to what happened in New Orleans and Florida, and even just the reality of, whether you believe it or not, but science has fairly given a strong case about there is global warming happening. Humans could be adding to that. It could be a natural phenomenon as the sun gets hotter. These things do happen also in nature. But as sea levels begin to rise, actually, I'm working with a gentleman in the Bay Area who's been making me aware about how many islands now around the world, they're actually moving entire populations of millions of people off of these islands to prepare for, ahead of time, some of the potential sea level rising.
Yeah, that's right. And the sea level rising, people are doing quite a few things. Building seawalls is one of the ways that they're trying to prepare
which
for
they're proposing in, I know, New York City.
That's right.
Area they're proposing.
But also building beaches, extending beaches and dune areas to prepare for when a hurricane or something comes through, that there's a buffer zone there. One of the changes that I'm seeing in my field is that engineers are becoming more aware that they have to work with the natural world. When we have stormwater runoff from our streets or our houses or something, it needs to go into some kind of natural swale where the water's cleaned and sinks back into the ground instead of just going straight into a storm drain and straight out to the river. And working with nature in that way, we can have more resilient cities, and that's what people are finding.
And it's really interesting too, because you're obviously we're talking to you from the standpoint as a civil engineer, but there's even things that affect us as far as landfills, things like recycling. And I heard something pretty horrifying the other day. I was listening to it wasn't fake news; it was pretty on point. But they were talking about where they recently went around the world and did water samples from the tap, whether it was in Europe, Africa, Asia, here in the United States, South America, and they said that 83% of drinking water contains plastic-based particulates. And that's not even bringing into account, what that means is basically, we all know about the Pacific Gyre that's happening. There's an island is made of plastic in the Pacific Ocean, just kind of northeast of Hawaii, that's bigger than the state of Texas. I think it's probably considerably bigger. I haven't necessarily followed that in the media. But how much plastic we use, and plastic really never goes away, so that this plastic is starting to build up in people's digestive system, in their blood. And not only that, but what's happening right now with pharmaceuticals that are being flushed down the toilet, and the impact we have in just our decisions of what we buy and what we use. So it's quite alarming. Actually, I know DJ, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but he's been working on a track. It's kind of like Red Alert on Planet Earth. It's a call to action. It's a wake-up call that we're going to be using, of course, the medium of hip-hop music to help get a message out to people that it's really time to, get up and to whatever it is, like Renette said, whether it's growing potatoes or doing Chinese medicine or doing independent media, it's really time to find your passion to do that and to become part of a networked community.
Yeah, I think the networking part is key. One of the big pieces of resiliency is getting different departments of government to work together, government and the community to work together in order to build a more resilient system. Because if one department's just working on their own and they're doing something, they might not even be, thinking about what potential effects might happen in the future. Another really important piece in building resilient designs is getting stakeholder involvement. So the communities that are going to be affected by whatever you're building, if you're planning to build, if you say, oh, we're going to have sea level rise in our community, or we're going to have increased forest fires in our community, what is the solution to that? Instead of just some engineer or consulting firm saying, okay, we're going to figure out the right solution for this community, talk to the community. Talk to the people in government in that community, talk to the people who live in that community, the people who work in that community, and ask them, what is a solution that's going to work for you? Because that is really what's going to build a resilient community. If that culture in that community is working together and living together and building their own community together, that's really what makes a whole community and a whole culture that's going to extend beyond for 7 generations or however long we want to be here for.
Yeah, and I really like you did a write-up that you gave me the other day, and I thought what was really powerful is your definition of resiliency, because sometimes, we think of strength. Strength is like a rod of iron. It's unbending and unyielding and able to stand against anything. But the idea of resiliency is more like the bamboo, where
that's right.
That its flexibility is its strength, correct?
That's right, yeah. So often people talk about how you want to be strong like bamboo, where it can bend but it doesn't break. Another example that I said is you can really get an understanding of what it means to be resilient when you...
It's technical. Go ahead.
I think my mic is off. When you talk about a leaf, if I had a fresh green leaf and I crushed it in my hand and I opened my hand, the leaf would still be there. If I had a dry, brittle leaf and I crushed it in my hand and I opened my hand, the leaf will be gone. It will be destroyed. And you can see the green leaf is resilient and the brittle leaf is not. So that's another way of speaking about resilience.
Yeah, that's a really great analogy. So I'd love to have you back, and I know that again we're kind of all co-conspiring to help do some community think tanks, and hopefully in the very near future, I'm going to be working in support with another gentleman who works with Resilient Community Academy, and he's planning a very large tour that we're completely in support of. So I want to just acknowledge Lou Casabianca. But again, we're looking at potentially doing some projects this fall and in the spring, doing some community think tanks, and really helping to get people networked and activated about what they're doing and what they can support and do in their communities. And recently, I have actually, speaking of working in the schools, I just reconnected with Margaret Campbell, who works at the Briar Patch and does a lot of their web and social media stuff, and come to find out that she did a whole thesis on community resiliency a long time ago. So we're just scratching the surface. This is something I'm getting much more aware about, even though I've been working with arts and culture and education and permaculture and the green movement for a long time, and recycling, not contributing as much as possible to a disposable culture. So we're really excited that we're going to be able to sink our teeth into this subject matter more, and we'd love to have you back.
Great, I look forward to it.
And any words of wisdom to leave our audience with, maybe something they can do, or just a simple tidbit of information to help them think about this and maybe a way they can apply it in their own life.
Sure. Well, one other piece that's really critical for building resiliency, and I think building a stronger culture also, is investing in real science. And when I say science, I mean, hard science, biology and physics, but also in research, not just deciding to believe something because that's the right thing or it feels good or it sounds good, but really find out. Ask someone else, what did they see? How did it look to them? Did somebody study this at some point? Do we have answers about how we might think this will turn out? I think that's really key and really important when we make these decisions for long-term thinking. We've lost this idea of depending on the elders who've known and who've seen it. And it's really important to base our decisions on experience and facts. So that's something I'd like to express to people.
What do you think, you guys? Yeah. Well, he's here. Find him Thursday nights banging on drums in Pioneer Park, and the rest of the time I know he's busy at work doing his civil engineering work. So we have about 8 or 10 minutes left of the show. We're going to turn it over now. We're going to get back to some live music. And again, Chinese medicine by day, musician by evening. Another round of applause. Live in studio here, on stage at the off-center stage. Nice round of applause for Justin Burkett.
Here's a song called Call Me Ishmael. Traveling up to rock in those waves. Danger comes from every way, but then love comes along and makes a rescue and saves the day. First you feel the pull that pulls you inside, breaks you down, and when you're down, you can only hide. Now in the sunlight, golden heat is very pleasing, shining on our backs as we ceaselessly repeat. Precious day, singing with you these stories, tones and songs. Lovers in a world gone wrong, lovers who awaken, make lovers, they continue on. The sailing of time confuses my mind. It breaks you down, and when you're down, you can only hide. Now in the sunlight, golden heat is very pleasing, shining on our backs as we ceaselessly repeat. universal processes evolving on the changing sky, where everything that's ever been born will die. In this life a chance for something great, an avatar who's learned from past mistakes, who has learned how to feel, who has learned to be real, with a heart that feels a pumping of a love born to heal. Alive we cry out tears from our eye, and we end with a sigh. Oh, we end with a sigh.
All right, thank you so much. You wrote that one, obviously, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, very nice. So we're about to the end of the show. We have a couple minutes left. So I'm going to invite all the crew up here because, you know, really, without all of these folks, we could not even be doing this show. So let's get everybody out here if we could. I'm going to call Jim Heck, our technical director back there, keeping us streaming online. I know he did this, but we're going to call him out anyways, because he also does a lot of support work for KVMR. And I want to get Claudio down here. So just to finish with, I want to give everybody a voice here on the show. Come on up, you guys. So again, thank you for watching Golden Road TV show. Again, we are an app and podcast. Stephanie Ryan, come on up. Let's get everybody up here. And I'm just going to give anybody want to just say hello, goodbye, or share any words of wisdom.
Well, you know what? Thanks, Michael, for letting me talk about Through the Lens. And I just wanted to add that it's a major fundraiser for Nevada County Television, where we were hosting the Golden Road Show for a long time. It was broadcasting live out of our studios. And I also want to thank my partner in crime, who is co-organizing the event with me. That's Jim Heck. And we're just excited about it. October 1st, come down to the Del Oro. You can buy tickets online at throughthelens.brownpapertickets.com. And that's Through the Lens, spelled incorrectly. I'm a teacher and I don't like it, but it's THRU, Through the Lens. That's my little plug.
Yeah. It's been an interesting year, man. 1 year all on the show. A lot going on. I'm 1 year old here. You know, a lot going on. Big up to all my staff at Connected Communities Academy, where my DJ school is, my anger management DJ classes is at. And my management, Dove Most, was the best manager. My partner here, Mikey, we got a lot of just projects that we're doing. The girls here that always keep us going with the songs and all that. Poetry, the staff we have now, especially now, you know, cameras. I mean, everybody, like, so, word of wisdom, really, just keep motivated, man. Simple. That's it. Stay motivated.
I don't have much to add, but yeah, let's build a community together and keep our culture growing and thriving.
I wanted to thank Michael for letting me do his live streams for him. It's been a big learning experience, and I've learned a lot about production too in this endeavor.
For me, it's an honor to be working on this show, and I hope everybody gives love to everybody else.
I want to acknowledge our newest support here. We hope to have him back. Nice round of applause for Ryan Starr. We have recently done some TV training. And Michaela, come on up. He's so humble. He's so humble. He's so humble. So we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna just have a word. Michaela helps to bring all the audio.
Follow the golden road. Follow the golden road. Follow the golden road.
And we really thank you for your support. And here is Michaela.
We're off to see the golden The Golden Road TV show. You'll find it is a whiz of a show, if ever a show there was. It's arts and culture and history, environment, health, technology, and peace and justice, science, just because of the meaningful things it does.
Again,
We're off to see the Golden Road TV show.
George helping to set up the keyboard for Gabrielle, and she's not here on camera, but Kenya Dance, who comes and does words of the week with poetry and contributes here she comes. There she goes. All right. Look at Grandpa Power there in his chair. So again, thank you so much, and again, thank you Rebecca Funk, who's back there running the controls and the switcher right now. We're going to take it out with our rolling titles. And again, thank you, Grass Valley Center for the Arts off center stage, Julie Baker, Sarah Zahn, all the people that make it work here. Thank you, New Dawn Gluten-Free Bakery in Auburn. Thank you, Forever Enlightened. Thank you, Lotus Guide Magazine, who now gives us a feature whole page every time they publish the magazine. Thank you to our new sponsor in Sacramento, the Sacramento Healing Arts Festival, where we're going to be next weekend. And you'll see some of these folks out at the Celtic Festival. We are out at World Fest. Lots more planned, helping to bring you inspiring, enlightened, and educational content here from the heart of Gold Country. So thank you so much, and we'll see all of you soon. Don't forget, broadcasting Siskiyou County, Shasta County, Butte County, Nevada County, Truckee, Tahoe, Placer, Amador, Calaveras, and Sacramento County, and soon to be even more. So thank you so much, Rebecca, for making it all work right now, and let's roll to the closing credits. Thank you, have a great week, and we'll see everybody next Sunday here on the Golden Road.